Welcome to C09, Data Dictionary SE11. Every ABAP program runs against the database. Every select, insert, and modify touches a table. The quality of your tables, the way you define their structure, types, validations, and metadata determines how reliable, maintainable, and performant your application is. The ABAP Data Dictionary Transaction SE11 is where all of that structure is defined. This module covers everything you need to create and maintain DDIC objects professionally. By the end of this module, you will be able to explain the 3 table types, create a transparent table with correct key fields and delivery class, define a data element linked to a domain, create all 4 view types, build an elementary search help, create a lock object and call the generated enqueueue and dequeue function modules, add an append structure to an SAP standard table, and configure table buffering correctly. Module 1 introduces the foundational DDIC building blocks. We cover the 3 table types and when to use each, the steps to create a transparent table in SE11, the data element and domain metadata layer that gives fields their meaning, and the 4 view types that sit on top of tables. By the end of Module 1, you will be able to design a clean, customer namespace transparent table with proper key structure, semantic labels, and reusable metadata. ABAP tables come in 3 types. Transparent tables map one-to-one to a physical database table. The field names in SE11 become column names in the database. Every custom Z table you create should be transparent. Examples are EKKO, LFA1, and MARA. Pooled tables store many DDIC tables in a single database table called a table pool. This was common in early SAP for small control tables, but is rare in new development. Cluster tables store pack data in a variable length column, used historically for FI document tables like the BSEG cluster. Both pooled and cluster tables cannot be joined in SQL, which limits their use. The slight standard is clear. Never create pooled or cluster tables in the Z namespace. Always use transparent tables. In SE11, select Database Table, enter your Z name and press Create. The Definition tab has 3 critical fields. Short description is mandatory. Delivery class controls transport behavior. A means application data. Content stays in the client and is not transported by default. C means customizing. Content is transported with client copies. E means system table always transported. 4 custom Z tables, use for business data and C for configuration. On the Fields tab, the first field must always be MANDT of type CLNT length 3, marked as a key field. Without MANDT, the table stores data globally across all clients, a serious architecture error. After MANDT, add your business key fields, then your data fields. Link each field to a data element to inherit type, labels, and F4 help automatically. Before activating for the first time, go to Enhancement category, and set it to Can be enhanced deep. Without this setting, you cannot add an append structure later. Then go to Technical Settings to set the data class and size category. Activate with Ctrl plus F3. The DDIC has a 3-layer metadata hierarchy below the table field. A table field references a data element. The data element carries semantic meaning. The short, medium, long, and heading text labels that appear in ALV column headers, selection screens, and F1 documentation. The data element references a domain. The domain carries technical properties, the ABAP data type, length, decimal places, and the allowed value range. The value range in a domain can be fixed values, a drop-down of allowed codes, or a reference to a check table via a foreign key. When a domain references a check table, SAP automatically validates that any value entered in fields using that domain exists in the check table. Users also get F4 search help automatically. Create a domain first in SE11. Set the type, length, and value table or fixed values. Then create the data element referencing that domain and add field labels on all 4 lengths. One data element can be reused across many tables. Change it once and all usages reflect the update. SE11 supports 4 view types. Database views translate to SQL joins. Use them to provide a pre-join projection of data for ABAP select statements. They are read-only. Define the join conditions and select the fields to expose. Then select from the view name in ABAP exactly as if it were a table. Maintenance views power the SM30 table maintenance transaction across related tables. They simulate a single logical entity from multiple physical tables, using outer joins. Ideal for customizing tables where business users need to maintain configuration data. Help views provide the data for F4 search result lists. They define which fields appear in the F4 pop-up. Projection views expose only a subset of columns from a single table for authorization control. Module 2 covers the DDIC objects that surround tables and make a real application robust. Search helps that drive F4 dialogues, lock objects that prevent concurrent editing of the same record, append and include structures that extend tables without modification, and table buffering for performance. By the end of Module 2, you will know how to attach an elementary search help to a field, wire enqueueue and dequeue around a critical update, add Z fields to a SAP standard table safely, and pick the right buffering mode per table. Elementary search helps define the F4 pop-up for a field. In SE11, create a search help and set the selection method, a table or a help view. Then add parameters for each field shown in the F4 dialog. Each parameter has IMP and EXP flags. IMP means the user can type a filter value for that field. EXP means the selected value is exported back to the calling screen field. LPOS is the column position in the result list. Assign the search help to a data element. All fields using that element automatically get the F4, or assign directly to a specific table field. For custom F4 from screen flow logic, use process on value request in PAI and call F4 if int table value request or F4 if field value request with your own data table. Collective search helps group multiple elementary search helps under one name. Users see a tab strip to choose their preferred search method. Lock objects in SE11 implement SAP's logical locking mechanism, preventing two users from simultaneously editing the same business record. Create a lock object in SE11. The name must start with E by convention. Set the primary table and the lock key fields, typically MANDT plus the primary business key. Set the lock mode, E for exclusive write lock, S for shared read lock. Activating the lock object generates two function modules, enqueue and dequeue, both named after the lock object. Call enqueueue before reading a record for editing. Check the return code. foreign_lock means another user has it. After finishing, always call dequeue, whether the save succeeded or failed. A lock that is never released blocks other users until the session ends. Using the _scope parameter value to ties the lock to the LUW. It is automatically released on commit work or rollback work. Append structures let you add custom fields to an existing table, including SAP standard tables, without modifying the original table. In SE11, open the table, go to, append structures, and create a new structure. Your fields must use the Z or Y namespace prefix. After activation, the fields appear at the end of the table and are accessible in ABAP exactly like the original fields. One append structure per table per customer namespace. Include structures are the opposite concept. They are reusable field groups that you include in multiple tables. Create a structure in SE11 with a common set of fields, audit stamps, address blocks, classification fields. Then include it in your tables using the include keyword on the Fields tab. Changing the include structure once updates all tables that reference it. Both techniques require the table's enhancement category to be set before first activation. Table buffering caches table content in application server memory to avoid database round trips. Choosing the right mode per table is critical for performance and data accuracy. No buffering is for write-heavy or accuracy-critical tables such as BKPF, MSEG, and EKKO. The buffer would be invalidated immediately, so there is no gain. Full buffering is for small, read-heavy, rarely changing config tables like T001, TSPAA, and NRIV. The entire table is loaded on first access. Generic buffering is for medium tables with natural key groupings such as T687. Specify how many leading key fields form the generic key and all rows sharing that key prefix are cached together. Single entry is for tables read one row at a time and rarely reread in the same session. Only the specific row accessed is cached. used with select single. The wrong choice, for example full on a write-heavy transactional table, leads to constantly stale data and incorrect results. For DDIC mistakes most often caught in code review. First, forgetting MANDT as the first key field. Every row is then shared across all clients including production. Always declare MANDT CLNT3 as the first key field. Second, not setting enhancement category before first activation. C11 then blocks adding an append structure later. Always set enhancement category to can be enhanced deep before the first activation, not after. Third, missing dequeue on an error branch strands the lock until SM12 clears it. Dequeue on every error path and after commit work. Fourth, buffering a write-heavy table, the buffer becomes constantly stale and users see wrong data. Buffer only small, read-heavy config tables that rarely change. Module summary. Always create transparent tables for custom development. MANT must be the first key field. Set enhancement category before first activation. Link fields to data elements, inherit labels and F4 for free. Domains define type, length, and value range. Check tables provide automatic validation and F4 through foreign keys. Database views provide SQL join shortcuts. Maintenance views power SM30. Lock objects generate enqueue and dequeue. Always call both, even on error. Append structures add Z fields to SAP tables. Include structures share field groups across tables. Buffering. Full for small config tables, none for write-heavy transactional tables. Your lab creates the complete DDIC stack for the Acme PO log. The table, a custom data element and domain, a search help for vendor, a lock object, and an append structure on EKKO. Good luck, and I will see you in C10 ABAP enhancements.